Hello, greetings. Welcome to United States of Africa. This is Daniel, the founder of Global Pan-Africanism Network, and project. Global Pan-Africanism Network is an international organization that focuses on reunification of all people of African descent. We do a lot of rights advocacy for people of African descent around the world, and more importantly, we are advocating for total unification of Africa. And just like Pan-Africanist Mwalimu Julius Nyerere said, our hope lies in African unity. Without unity, Africa does not have any future. They do not have any future either. So therefore, we have to come together, overcome these artificial colonial boundaries, these colonial establishments that we are calling them countries today. We have to eradicate them so that we create an African nation, one and indivisible African nation that will take care of the interests of the African people at home or abroad. So therefore, it's the duty of us young people to work towards the realization of United States of Africa. No one else can do that because these current leaders, some of them, they'll be dragging their feet for the next 50 years. And if you tell them to unite Africa, they're already satisfied with what they are getting from these colonial boundaries. There are very few who are ready to relinquish power so that one independent African nation can be established. So this is why the United States of Africa project has, since 1963, it has taken a lot of time, and we are yet to see an African nation being born. But an African, if we young people come together and stand for self-determination of Africa as a nation, because if we don't rise up and stand for self-determination of Africa, for total decolonization of Africa, there's no one. So the young people have a very huge role to play in ensuring that the aspirations of United States of Africa are achieved, and we also get to implement the Agenda 2063 as soon as possible before we even get there, because we don't have to wait until 2063 for us to analyze what we have done or what we have achieved. We need to start implementing all these aspirations and visions and start building up as a nation. The same way that the Palestinians started, we also need that route, because if we say we are going to wait for the African Union to establish Africa as a country, it is going to take even 1,000 years. But country, then at some point in time they'll have to respect that we are a country, we are a sovereign country, and now Africa will unite. This might sound radical, but it's very much possible. The moment we stick on United States of Africa and say this is our country and we are United States of Africa citizens, or we are African Republic citizens, and we start establishing independent economical structures that will make Africa stand as an independent nation. We start establishing all the structures that are required to have a unified African government. If we do this, then we'll attain United States of Africa much sooner than expected, and we will put all our efforts in building a very strong economy, that will be able to sustain us, and this is what we need to do. If we don't rise up and say Africa must unite, then there's no one who can do that. Welcome, Amat. I can see the sports director here. You are trying to get live so that you can get into conversation. Maybe you can try again and see if it is going to be possible, because I tried accepting, but it's not working. So United States of Africa is a collective responsibility for Africans in Africa and also Africans in the diaspora. We have to stand our ground and say we want to realize this dream now. And with the confusion that has been caused by this coronavirus, this imported coronavirus, this is the time now to unite Africa. And this is the time to give Africans confidence that we are capable of becoming an African nation. A new nation must be born. Africa must be reborn, and we are going to do this if we put all our efforts together, start establishing all the economical structures that are missing, make sure that we fix our agriculture, and by fixing our agriculture, we'll be able to ensure that there is food security. And we have a project called agriculture. This is a project that we intend to carry out in one African country, and this one will inspire many other chapters. So that once we begin in one chapter, the same project will be replicated throughout Africa, and that will ensure that we have food security and we are able to produce enough food for everyone. We'll be able to process all these produce into finished goods and create jobs for African. And by creating jobs, then we create self-reliance in Africa. This is what has been an ingredient that has been missing with the political independence that heavily relies on the West or the East. Africa is not free, as we are looking forward to have African Liberation Day conference, an online conference that we are going to hold, and we'll focus on the United States of Africa. We are seeing a very huge problem. Africa is economically crippled, and as the pandemic hits, it's even worse, because many people poverty every day, and this kind of situation requires a radical intervention for us to be able to save people, millions of people who are falling into poverty. We need to ensure that there is a robust agricultural system that works for Africans, and that ensures that there is food security, and with food security, to ensure that there is even surplus that Africans can sell in African industries, and by doing that, they'll be able to take their children to school, be able to pay their school fees, they'll be able to afford healthcare, African healthcare facilities, and which are fully equipped with African technology, and ensure that we also have economic sovereignty, ensure that we have an independent African economy that does not rely on foreign direct investment, an economy that is built by Africans for Africans, by Africans for Africans in Africa. And this kind of economy is what will ensure that we are self-reliant. And if we are we are trading internationally, that will be just a surplus business. But Africa would have built enough economy to sustain itself without necessarily having to do international trade, because Africa is a very large continent. It's a very huge nation. It's a very huge country that can sustain its own can sustain itself And this is why you see all these small countries, they usually come to Africa whenever they have problem. They'll come here, they get contracts, and they go feed their people. You have seen China came here very poor 40 years ago, and after amassing wealth from Africa, China is now among the wealthiest. And many other countries, Europe came here, they colonized us for 500 years and enslaved us. Thereafter, they're very rich. We have also seen the Arabs also came, they enslaved us for, and now they're very wealthy. So Africans, we have been used to build the Middle East. We have been used to build Europe. We have been used to build the United States of America. But time has come for us Africans to build for self. And we can only do that if we establish ourselves into an independent country. And this requires the reunification of all people of African descent. We have a shared prosperity, a shared destiny, and we are all Africans, whether we are in Africa, in the Caribbean, in South Pacific, us. They see us as black. They see us of African. They see us as people of African descent. They don't say this one is from Melanesia. This one is from Africa. This one is from Europe, or this one is from America. They only see us as one nation. So therefore, this is a time for us to stop embracing the colonial structures and colonial names that separate us. Time to discard these colonial boundaries and develop the African nationality. Be proud of being an African. Be proud of being of African descent, and proudly express ourselves as Africans, because we are one nation. And by doing this, then we begin to realize where we came from. We get to learn our history. And no, before even the colonization, before the beginning of slavery, we were one nation. And this is why Africa must unite. By coming together, then we become a very strong force that will be able to protect its own interests. And having a unified Africa is what we need to be able to pull millions upon millions out of poverty. And through African unity will be and these are just artificial structures. If you're flying, you'll never see any boundary. Africa is united, is one country, is one continent, one of the largest countries in the world. So what you need is to embrace Africanness, just like an Africanist Mwalimu Julius Nyerere said. By embracing our Africanness, we'll stop referring ourselves using the names given by our colonial masters, saying that I'm Kenyan, I'm Egyptian, I'm Tanzanian. These are just colonial names, colonial structures. We need to stop associating ourselves with these colonial structures and refer ourselves as Africans, people of African descent. Wherever we go, we are referred to as Africans, and by African nationality. So United States of Africa is a wake-up call for Africans at home or in the diaspora to come together. Let us work together and put this vision that Pan-Africans have fought for into practical sense, we begin establishing these structures that will make us a united African nation. And we can do this with utilizing the natural resources that we have in Africa, the young, vibrant population. We have so many talented young people in Africa who are capable of innovating for Africa, that Africa need. And this is what we need now. System that addresses our own realities, and an education system that solves the challenges that we are facing now, and that fixes the lack of leadership that we have at continental level. Leaders who restrict themselves on colonial boundaries, and if something happens outside his or her colonial boundaries, they don't care. They just restrict themselves where the colonial masters put them. And this is what we need to end, and advocate for complete independence of Africa, because Africa has not yet attained its just these colonial structures, manifestations that have attained a certain level of political independence, but actually they are not free. They are still receiving instructions from their former colonial masters, who are in total control of their natural resources. And this is why Africa is not developing, because these colonial masters are siphoning our oil. They're taking away our gold, diamonds, and everything that we need to establish and industrialize Africa. They have managed to convince African leaders that Africans cannot mine their own oil, Africans cannot process their own oil, Africans cannot mine their own gold, Africans cannot process and add value to their own gold, Africans cannot mine their own diamond, Africans cannot add value and process their own diamond. This is what they have managed to convince the African leaders, and this is why you see every day African leaders are auctioning our oil, they're auctioning our natural resources in exchange for a piece of paper than these natural resources that we have. And after auctioning these resources, they go ahead to the same people who are now wealthy after buying these natural resources from Africa. They go and beg for foreign aid, and they're given some pieces of paper, and they're also given they're given projects which are fully funded, but in exchange they pay they don't pay paper, they pay resources, giving away what we own. And this kind of business is what has made Africa poor, because we are losing a lot of wealth every year. Our wealth is flying out, and we are receiving nothing. They're taking away the greatest share of Africans' wealth through the so-called foreign direct investments. And this kind of shoddy deals is what we need to bring to an end, so that we can establish African industries, African companies that will take care of the natural wealth of Africa, process it, add value to it, and distribute this wealth to the African people. This is what we need. We don't need a leadership that is more of a parasitic leadership, leadership that takes away even the littlest wealth that people have, and this wealth never comes back. The governments, if they take something back, they have a responsibility to bring more in return. But African governments take billions in form of taxes, but these taxes don't come back to the people. This is why people are very poor. It's just like milking the citizens dry, and most of these taxes are misused, misappropriated. Most of this wealth individuals in Africa through corruption deals. This is why you see the pandemic is revealing what African governments have been doing. You'll see completely very weak healthcare systems. Some countries don't even have healthcare system. They rely on the Almighty to save the people. And we have seen that he has been very merciful to the African people in spite of the little capacity that we have in our healthcare. We have seen that we have been spared from coronavirus pandemic, and this is now the power of hope, being confident and never giving up to fear. Being confident is one of the most powerful ways that we can confront the pandemic. In spite of the little capacities that we have in our health system, we Africans have to unite and confront this pandemic, this invisible enemy, and ensure that we defeat it by uniting, coming together, having a very good working relationship with African governments, following the guidelines, ensuring that we uphold the high standards of hygiene. At the same time, invented the coronavirus remedy. We also need to see what Ghanaians can do, the African Ghanaians, and also the African Nigerians. We are capable solutions that Africans have been waiting for. We don't need to wait for the white man to provide us with the remedy. We cannot expect the same people who created the virus to provide us with the antidote. This is why United States of Africa encourage to embrace African solutions. We should not be waiting for World Health Organization to tell us what to do. That tells you that Africa is not yet free, is not yet a sovereign country. This is why these small organizations like World Health Organization and the United Nations keeps lecturing the entire African continent like a child. We have to stand our ground and demand equal respect and dignity as African nation, as people of African descent, wherever we are, and we have to behave in a manner that we tell the world we know that we are an equal race to any other race, and we are capable of solving our own problems, and we don't need European validation to whatever we have discovered. What we need is the confidence of Africans. If Africans are confident in Madagascar cure, then let us. And we have African scientists, and if they invent something, then it's definitely in Africa's interest. But if something is invented in Europe, the first interest that it serves is the European interest. And then if something is invented in America, the first interest is the American people's interest, and then African interests come as secondary. So if it comes from there, we are not sure if it serves our interest as Africans, because we never made it. We were not there when it did. We didn't take part in those innovations. So therefore, we cannot claim to have confidence in foreign made solutions that no African took. We didn't even supervise whatever was happening. Africa has been colonized medically because we are very quick to embrace foreign solutions while neglecting and ignoring our own medical solutions. This time calls for an end to medical imperialism in Africa and an end to medical colonialism. We reject any attempt to introduce foreign vaccines in Africa. We solutions. We also any attempt to make Africa a testing laboratory for these so-called over 100 coronavirus vaccines that are being developed. If these vaccines are developed in Europe, let them test their vaccines there in Europe. If these vaccines are made in to do a lot of research and come up with natural remedies to confront the pandemic, and also to come up with solutions for many other diseases in Africa by doing respect as an independent and sovereign African nation. And no one will be able to look down on Africa, even on international media. They'll start respecting us because they'll see that we now is a potential, is also a nation that is full of unlimited potential. And what we need is just to come together, and we are going to unravel this mystery of the African nation yet to be born. And we are going to send a very strong message to the world that Africa is no longer sleeping. We are wide awake, and we are ready to take charge of our natural resources. We are ready to mine our gold. We are ready to mine our bauxite. We are ready to process it, and we are ready to set up the industries that jobs remain in Africa by exporting raw materials from Africa to Europe, to China, to America. We are also exporting African jobs to those countries. And this is why there is a very huge unemployment rate in Africa, because we are even giving away our natural resources. We are also giving away our jobs, and then we run to the same countries which we gave them our jobs to ask for jobs in Europe, to ask for jobs in America, and they turn us back. They don't want us. They say, these dirty illegal immigrants, we don't want you. Yet these countries are the ones benefiting from the exploitation of Africa. Time for us to stop exploitation of Africa by Europe, exploitation of Africa by United States, exploitation of Africa by China, and any other country. We have to take charge of our land and make sure that we cultivate this land using the most efficient ways, using the advanced agricultural technologies that are already existing in Africa, and it's nothing new. By doing that, then we'll create a prosperous and independent African nation. I'm looking forward to meeting you on the African Liberation Day in the conference, Pan-African conference that we are going to hold. It will be held online, and we shared the Skype link, group link, so that you can get involved in the organization of this conference, and you can also take part so that we can be able to collect diverse views of Africans in Africa. also in the diaspora, get everyone involved in the realization of this vision. The United States of Africa, let us work together and build this nation that the world has been waiting for, so that we stand and we begin being respected, because they'll see that this is a completely new Africa. It's not the one that gave away everything. It's not the Africa that didn't know its worth. It's not the Africa that used to sell itself for it's a new Africa. Knows what its people need. Africans need opportunities. They need to be taught how to create, as opposed to be taught how to be job seekers. We need an education system that inspires Africans to create jobs, to build new industries, to build new companies, to come up with new products. This is the education that Africa needs as a nation.